Alright, today we're going to be canning sweet potatoes. I've cleaned these potatoes. I took off some bad spots, the ends that had spots and things like that. Tried to get most of it where they look pretty decent. The first process is to boil them 3 minutes, and that loosens the skin. I'm fixing to put them over in this bowl. We'll take the skins off. In my sink I have hot water with my jars over in them, and we're going to take them out one at a time and fill them. What I'm doing is taking the peeling off and any bad spots, because you don't want, like this, you don't want that in your jar, because if it was a bad spot and it caused your jar to ruin, you wouldn't want that. So I'm cutting out any bad spots, and I'm just taking the skin off, just skimming down the side of it and going back and getting the spots with it, and then I'm cutting them into cubes where they'll fit in the jars pretty easily. And I just cut them about like that.
We don't boil ours either, as long as they say to boil them, because if you do, what you end up with is sweet potatoes that are canned that are nothing but mush. You don't want to go over 3 minutes, because they get mushy.
And we'll go over them again as we put them in jars.
Alright, so there y'all have. This is the next phase. These are all of them laid out on the counter here. These have already been boiled for 3 minutes, waiting to have the skins and all took off of them, and then to be packed back in jars. Alright y'all, we're here. We've got our bowl of sweet potatoes peeled and cut up, ready to go in jars. And as you can see, here's all the peelings and the bad spots are cut out of them. Same thing here. This is one of the reasons we keep pigs on the homestead, because pigs eat this stuff up and they love it, and it puts the weight on them. So another reason for having pigs on the homestead, to help keep things cleaned up. Alright, Wanda's putting water in here for the boiling water for the sweet potatoes. We've got our lids. They're all back there heating up. We can see here she counts how many. She takes her jar and pours her water over. That way she knows about how much water it's going to take to fill up the jars that she's got. And we're fixing to be ready to can sweet potatoes. Okay y'all, we're getting our jars in our canner now. We got the water boiling. Supposed to use boiling water or syrup. We're not putting any sugar in ours. So got the jar back there getting hot. Wanda's packing them in, trying to get as many as we can get into these jars, leaving the 1-inch head space on them. She's going to put the water in now. Boiling water. Hot potatoes, hot jars, boiling water. And wipe the top of it. Make sure there's nothing on it. We're going to go over here. She's going to get her a flat. Put it on there. And get her a ring. Tighten it down. Alright, Wanda's fixing to set the last one in here.
And these are 1.5 pints.
These are 1.5 pints, yes.
My son brought these for my birthday, so we're going to fill them full of sweet potatoes.
And there we have it.
And we have this many left over.
These are leftovers now, because you never can get them just right. So what Wanda's going to do is she's fixing to make us a dessert out of those.
I'm putting them in the water, let them boil for about 20 minutes and get good and done. Then I'll mash them and make a dessert.
That's it. So we're just going to carry y'all along. We're going to put the lid on here in a minute and get the heat start building up. Okay y'all, the pressure thing is popped down, and now the regulator's been took off the top, so we're ready to take the lid off. Okay, so we're sitting here. Got one or two of them there that's buckled on us. Don't know what's going on with that, but we are fixing to take the jars out. Okay, y'all, here they all are. They're out. We got two here. We're going to be questioning this one here. Got a little bit of a question about it. And that one there. They kind of buckled a little bit, so we're going to wait and see how they do it. If they don't seal, then we are going to use them immediately. This is canning sweet potatoes from Deep South Homestead. Alright, give y'all just a little tip here about when you're cooking sweet potatoes in a pot. It leaves that tarry film on the inside of that pot. Your dishwashing liquid will not wash off. Put you some olive oil in there and run it around the top of that pot. It'll cut that tar right loose. And then take you a good scrubber. Scrub that thing. The tar comes right out of them. That's just one of those little tips we're going to throw in there and tell y'all. So you don't have to struggle with this thing for hours trying to get it clean. Alright y'all, we've got our hot sweet potatoes packed into our jars here. We've got our water boiling. We're fixing to get ready to put these other 7 in the pressure canner, and that'll give us 14 quarts of sweet potatoes today. And we feel like that's a pretty good little chore for us to do here at this particular time. There we go. Now we're going to turn it on, wait till it starts blowing out that thing in the top for about 10 minutes. Alright y'all, we've been going for an hour and a half with our canner. We let it cool down. We're going to take our weight off the top, make sure there's no pressure. The little button thing is down. Here, we're going to take this top off. Anytime you take a top off a pressure canner, it's best to tilt the other side away from you so the steam doesn't come up in your face. Alright. I'm going to start lifting these out. These are our sweet potatoes. Look good. Alright y'all, this is our last one. 7 quarts. Sweet potatoes. We're fixing to do 7 more. And we've got 10 pints of canned okra that we've done. So we're getting ready for winter time at Deep South Homestead. Hello everybody, this is Danny from Deep South Homestead. What we got going on here is we just got through canning sweet potatoes yesterday, and one of the biggest things that happens is the rings on them stick to the jars because sweet potatoes give a syrup out around the lids while you're pressure cooking them, because they have to go for such a long period of time, hour and a half. And these lids get stuck and you can't get them loose. But what happens is when you run hot water over those lids the next day, the heat from the water causes the metal to expand, and it also causes the syrup to loosen up underneath the lids, and then they'll usually turn and screw right off. And what you're going to want to do after that is come along with a towel. You're going to want to wipe the top of that jar off real good where that ring was, and you're going to want to wash your rings and stuff and clean them back up and wipe that jar off real good, because it's going to be sticky if you don't. And when you go to put it up in the pantry, if you're not careful, you'll have little ants and stuff like that will start coming to those jars because that sugar from those potatoes is around it. And plus, it'll rust your rings on it. That's one other thing there. You want to make sure your rings on it don't get rusted up. But that's what we're doing here today. We're going through all the jars that we've canned. We're trying to make sure we get them rings off of there before they stay on there too long and start rusting. But this is just a frugal quick tip from Deep South Homestead. I want to show y'all how to get these rings off. Now, all you gotta have is just hot water from a hot water heater. Heat the ring. And sometimes you gotta keep heating it because some of them get really stuck good, but thought we'd give y'all this frugal quick tip today. Thank you from Deep South Homestead.